Hello everyone. Welcome to Digital Learning DCE. Myself Dr. Manjula S, working as Associate Professor of Botany in Government First Grade College, Channapattanam. In today's session, let us study about Introduction and General Characteristics of Cyanobacteria. Let me begin with introduction. Cyanobacteria are group of primitive organisms belongs to the kingdom Monera under domain bacteria. They consist of 150 genera and about 2000 species, which are commonly called as blue-green algae, since they possess a dominant pigment called C-phycocyanin, which will impart characteristic color to the colony. They differ from other algae in having absence of well-organized nucleus and membrane-bound cell organelles. Hence, the pigments are not within a definite plasmid as in case of higher algae, but they are distributed in the peripheral cytoplasm called chromoplasm. In the slide, we can observe the aquatic habitat of cyanobacteria, which imparted blue-green color to the water body. Here we can observe the different forms of cyanobacteria. Some are unicellular, some are colonial forms. Here we can observe the filamentous form of cyanobacteria. Example for that is Anabina and Nostoc. Coming to general characteristics of cyanobacteria. This group of organisms are generally found in aquatic as well as terrestrial habitats where their plant body is known as thallus. The thallus may be either unicellular, colonial, or filamentous, which is microscopic and prokaryotic in nature. These organisms possess simple cell structure which lack flagella, hence the locomotion is either gliding or jerky type. In this case, the nuclear material, that is DNA, is diffused in the center of the cell. That type of nucleus is called as incipient nucleus, and they lack membrane-bound cell organelles. Hence, the pigments are found include chlorophyll A, beta carotene, myxoxanthophyll, along with two major dominant pigments called phycocyanin, which is blue in color, and phycoerythrin, which is red in color. They give characteristic color to the members of class Cyanophyceae. Since they contain all these type of pigments, the cyanobacteria are photosynthetic in nature. As a product of photosynthesis, they are going to form certain reserve food materials which are stored in the form of cyanophycean starch and glycogen. Many filamentous forms of cyanobacteria possess a specialized cells called heterocysts, and these heterocysts help in nitrogen fixation. The group of cyanobacteria mostly reproduce through vegetative as well as asexual means, where the sexual reproduction is completely absent. These are certain general characters which are only specific to the class Cyanophyceae. Let us study these characters one by one in detail. First thing is occurrence and distribution of cyanobacteria. The Cyanophycean members occur in all possible kinds of habitat where life can be possible, which are worldwide in distribution. Some are marine, that means they grow very well in salt water, and some of them are freshwater forms, and few of them are terrestrial forms also. That means they are able to grow on land surface. Very few species are also able to thrive well in extreme environmental conditions like hot springs, deserts, as well as polar regions. Some species are living in symbiotic relationship with other higher plants. Example, Anabina, which grows as an endophyte inside the thallus of uh, Anthoceros, which is a type of bryophyte, and the same species Anabina is also able to grow inside the leaves of a fern, pteridophytic fern called Azolla. In the same way, another form of cyanobacteria, that is nostoc, is found inside the coralloid roots of cycas. In this figure, we can see the different habitats of cyanobacteria. Some are freshwater forms and some are marine form. and some are able to grow on polar regions on ice, which is imparted the character as bluish green pigment color to the surface of the ice. Coming to thallus and cell structure. The plant body of cyanobacteria is called as thallus because it is not differentiated into root, stem, and leaves. The thallus may be either unicellular, colonial, or filamentous in nature. Unicellular means the whole plant body is made up of with a single cell. In case of colonial form, the group of cells are living together within a common mucilaginous sheath, forming a colony, whereas in case of filamentous form, the cells are arranged one above the other or one below the other, forming a hair-like structure called trichome. The cells of cyanobacteria are prokaryotic in nature and their cell wall is made up of peptidoglycan. They are usually surrounded by a gelatinous mucilaginous sheath, and next to the cell wall, there is a cytoplasm which is differentiated into inner centroplasm, which is colorless, and outer or peripheral chromoplasm, which is colored, where the pigments are located. The nuclear material, that is DNA, is diffused in the center of the centroplasm. This type of nucleus is called incipient nucleus, which lack proper nucleoplasm as well as nuclear membrane. Since these cells are prokaryotic in nature, they also lack membrane bound cell organelles. In this slide, we can observe different forms of thallus of cyanobacteria. As I already mentioned, some are unicellular and some are colonial form. And the nostoc and anabina are example for filamentous form of cyanobacteria. Then move on to the movement and toxins in cyanobacteria. Cyanobacteria, as I already mentioned, they lack a locomotory organ called flagella or cilia. Even some species show movement by gliding or jerky type. Gliding movements is nothing but slow sliding over the surface without visible appendages. Example for the cyanobacteria which are showing gliding movement includes Oscillatoria as well as Formidium. Some cyanobacteria where they are living in aquatic habitat, they produce a toxins called cyanotoxin, which are harmful to human as well as animals too. Coming to reproduction, this group of organisms, that is cyanobacteria, reproduce by two methods, vegetative as well as asexual means, where the sexual reproduction is completely absent. The cyanobacteria reproduce vegetatively by three different methods like fission, budding, and fragmentation. Here we can observe the fission, which is otherwise known as binary fission or cell division, and the budding, where an outgrowth is going to develop into which the content of the cell along with the cytoplasm and nucleus move and constriction develop, and later this bud will separate it from the mother cell and lead into independent life. In case of certain filamentous forms of cyanobacteria, as well as in colonial forms of cyanobacteria, the whole plant body or colony sometimes break into small segments. Those segments are referred as fragments. So, fragmentation is also one of the type of vegetative reproduction observed in case of cyanobacteria. Coming to asexual reproduction, cyanobacteria reproduce asexually by forming specialized resting spores like acinides, endospores, and exospores. Coming to nitrogen fixation. Many species of filamentous cyanobacteria able to fix atmospheric nitrogen and give the plants the usable form of nitrogen. So this is possible because they have provided with a specialized thick-walled H-shaped cells called heterocysts, which are either intercalary or terminal in position. So nitrogen-fixing cyanobacteria examples include Nostoc and Anabina. Coming to ecological role of cyanobacteria. The cyanophycean members are major primary producers in aquatic ecosystem. Hence, they form the base of the pond ecosystem. They play a very important role ecologically since they produce oxygen, they fix nitrogen, and they also involved in nutrient cycle. They improve soil fertility. They also involved in biogeochemical cycle. Their ability to fix nitrogen and improve soil fertility makes them valuable as biofertilizers, especially in sustainable agriculture. They're also useful in biotechnology of wastewater treatment. With this, I am going to conclude the session by highlighting some of the points which we have studied in the current session, that cyanobacteria are primitive organisms which are prokaryotic in nature and commonly called as blue-green algae, whose plant body is called as thallus, which are either unicellular, colonial, or filamentous, which is microscopic and prokaryotic in nature. Some are marine, some are freshwater forms, and few of them are terrestrial also. They reproduce mainly by vegetative as well as asexual means. They play an important role in biogeochemical cycling, fix atmospheric nitrogen, and improve soil fertility. So, with this, I'm going to conclude the session. For further details about the current topic, you can refer the following references. Thank you.